is Thursday, so welcome back, my Jesticles, to the last Thursday stream of 2022. We will be back at it in 2023, but we have some interesting announcements to make this Thursday. For starters, I'm not going to live in Minnesota anymore. I will not be living in this state. I am getting the fuck out of here. Finally, after 28 years of my life living in the frigid tundra, I am leaving, and I am so fucking happy about it. So next week, I will be in Texas for a month, and then I will be moving to Oklahoma and starting a new job and doing some other planned stuff. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, this is our last Thursday stream. So today I've got a couple of friends with me, friends who went to the Global Gloving Gauntlet, and I'm gonna, ask them some questions about their experience at the G3 event, and we're gonna do some finger wiggles, and yeah, so it should be a solid Thursday stream. Just for a heads up, again, I will not be doing any more Thursday streams this year. The next one will be in January. I don't know if it's going to be the first Thursday of January or not, depending on whether I can get my computer down to Texas right away. But yeah, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Minnesota. Bye, Minnesota. I never liked it here anyways. When Elsa said the cold never bothered me anyways, that I did not relate. I did not relate to that whatsoever. But yeah, so I'm going to play a little music here, and we'll bring in our friends. I have Clarity and Sidewinder in the chat at the moment. Welcome, friends, to the stream.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know if you guys got cameras or not. Feel free to pop those on if you do. If not, no worries. Welcome.
Currently,
would you prefer it sideways?
It doesn't matter. Either way is fine. But yeah, what's up? Thanks for being here. How's your holiday season going so far?
Frigid. Probably not as frigid as where you're at right now, but it is freezing. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, it's bad here. I don't want to talk about it. There's a reason I'm leaving.
Currently, it's 9 degrees, and we're in a snowstorm here in Illinois, and I'm driving in it, so, we...
Ma'am, that's not safe. Get home immediately.
I'm working on it. I'm almost there.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. You're the first two. I invited 5 or 6 people to join and talk about their experiences at G3. I see Clarity is wearing the jersey. That is appropriate.
Represent.
So, what was your favorite part of G3 this year, Clarity?
My favorite part is that this was my first competition in my entire gloving history. So there was like dozens of people I finally got to meet, and it feels like I've actually known them for years. It's just finally cool to put a face to all the conversations, like a real face, That is, definitely being able to see the community.
That is a huge part of why we do those live competitions. I mean, nothing really compares to that whatsoever. What about you? What about you, Sidewinder?
Honestly, I would say same. Even though I didn't compete, it was honestly a very surreal experience to finally meet all the homies from Glover's Lounge and, put faces to all the conversations and really just be around everyone. It did feel like kind of just being around a bunch of people that I've known for years, and so it was really nice and comforting to just be in a big area with everyone. Also, I really liked being able to put cat ears on some people. That was pretty fun.
Appropriate. Certainly appropriate. Looks like we got ourselves a cipher in the chat as well. Welcome, Alex. Thanks for being here. Totally on time. Definitely not late whatsoever.
What are you talking about? Yeah, totally on time.
Yeah, I love that. Literally at 2:59, I got a frantic message saying, "Hey, we need this to be delivered now." So yeah, that's great.
It'd be like that sometimes. We can't hear you very well. Maybe I should turn you up.
I could probably bring my microphone in. I'm still trying to work out the new spacing for it. So
Oh, new gear, new gear. Well, as the doorman for G3, what do you think the most ridiculous thing was walking through that door?
Besides me, drunk as shit. I feel like it wasn't like over the top ridiculous. Everybody getting there late, was probably the most stressful piece of it. But I think I felt like getting in was smooth overall.
That's good. That's good. What about what about the event itself? Did you have much time to actually go in and see what was going on, or did you stand most of the time outside?
No, I definitely had a good amount of time to roam. Obviously, after we set up, I was basically just like floating around helping. So at that point, I was just trying to check up on both sides. Aaron obviously was handling all the front of house stuff, which is super helpful. Shout out to Aaron for being the greatest of all time. And yeah, it was cool. I got to see all the people that I wanted to see, and yeah.
Who do you think the most famous Glover that was there? Who do you think that would be?
Most famous, fuck.
Maybe
like
not even Glover, but famous person that was there.
I think from the dance community, I forget his name, but one of the dudes that was competing is pretty well known. I think he'd probably have like the most notoriety for people. For the Glovers, I'd probably Mumbles. I feel like he kind of deserves that title after winning.
Valid.
Yeah.
Valid. Mumbles is definitely a goat for sure. I asked him to be on today. He said he wasn't available, so we're gonna talk to him in a couple of weeks for sure. But yeah, that was pretty wild watching him come back and say, "Hey, I did this once. I can do it again."
Right. I mean, I feel like he started off really young, right? We've known him since he was like 12 with the Poly D blowout. So to see him go from that to now this like full adult is pretty interesting. I feel like he's got like the most longevity out of everybody from that older generation.
It's for real. It's very surreal for me because I grew up in gloving watching Mumbles as a role model, so to speak, even though he's much younger than me. And then when he actually turned 18 was in 2017, and he went to Psycho Circus for his first rave, his first event, and I got his first event light show there, which was just completely over like surreal, like I said, surreal, and just something that I didn't believe him at first. I was like, it's not possible that you've been gloving for 8 years and you haven't been able to give a festival light show before. But that video is on my YouTube, so that's fun.
I'm about to check that. I didn't know that you got his first festival light show. That's pretty dope.
Yep.
I feel like that same thing with Rhapsode when he finally was able to go to his first event. Everybody was like fighting over him
to get that first one. Yeah. It's definitely it's a moment that I will cherish, undoubtedly. So, this is a question for everyone. Who is your favorite match during the event?
Oh my god. Okay, so for me, it was Thor and Ripples.
Valid. What happened during that was just so, I mean, obviously Thor versus Ripples is enough of a draw, but what happened during that?
They both just had really amazing shows. It was hard for me personally to decide which one was my favorite and what parts I enjoyed the most when, like, both of them just outstanding shows.
Honestly, I was going to say the exact same show, and one of the biggest reasons I like this matchup wasn't just Ripples, but especially Thor. Like, through this whole competition, he really pulled out some insane matches. Like, every round from Thor was really awesome. Like, it was awesome to see them all. But specifically that round, like, he got some really even matches later on. So it was really good to watch all the way through.
Thor certainly had a very good run. He's actually one of the people I asked to come and answer some questions as well. Another one who is not available today, but we'll get to him eventually. Yeah, no, definitely it was fun watching him because I started seeing Thor's name around when he started doing his 365 days of gloving thing, right? And he
Yes.
did that every day for a year, and I watched him go from a scrub to an actual talent. And then showing up and putting in that work at G3 was just, it felt like full circle to me.
Doris definitely put in the hours. He's also the newest PM member, which is
Newest
cool.
PM member, that is correct. He
I
just got his
saw that.
I know
tryout
that.
at what was it, KX5, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, KX5 is when he put him on.
so proud of him.
Good for him. Good man.
Was the 365 days of gloving kind of what inspired the full year of your lightsaber training? Or?
Yeah, actually. I decided basically from that, there was a couple of people who picked up the 365 days of gloving after that, and I was at the point in my gloving career that I wasn't really trying to do that, but as soon as I picked up the lightsaber, I was like, yeah, this seems appropriate. So that is where we're at. I think we're on like day 313 or something like that.
Ooh, excellent.
It's getting there, bro. Definitely seems worth it.
Coming up to a year in February. So got just a couple months more to go, and then we've got all the way through. What about the dance matches? Did you guys expect a little more out of the dance matches, or did you get to watch much of them, or what did you think?
I honestly wasn't expecting specifically Phoenix Banuelos to come through. Like, he's definitely like super well known. Wasn't even sure he would be in the area for something like this. And then there's a lot of other really good LA names like Clocks and a few other ones. Like, I've always been a bit more on the dancey side of gloving, so I was a huge fan of especially seeing them live.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching Clocks. He inspired the heck out of me to do a bunch of those animation videos. His idle animations are just so good. It's ridiculous. It's fun to watch. Go check out Clocks Tickin' on Instagram and TikTok if you haven't followed them already, because his stuff is really good. He was the one who won the dance match, or the dance competition. So let's see here.
Oh my god. Okay, so I just realized I was muted, and you started talking, and I was like, okay, are you just gonna ignore me?
I did not hear you.
No, I know, I was muted. Oops. Okay, so what I was saying was, it was actually really cool to see you up there, Claire. I was super excited. I was screaming about it. You know, it was fire. Also, I don't remember his actual name, but his Instagram handle is Dr. Robotnik.
Sure.
He was really cool. I got to meet him. Was also a fan of his dancing. And yeah.
All right. Very good, very good. And what would you guys have to say to anyone who would be thinking about going to the next live gloving competition event?
Absolutely do it.
But are on the fence. What would you tell them?
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
I'd say definitely do it, and just like reach out to people beforehand. Like, hype yourself up for it. Like, set yourself up to have a good time, and then you'll go and have a good time. You know, don't just make it a spur thing. Like, plan on it. You know, there's a bit of time before it. Like, reach out to all your gloving friends in other states and like see what you can figure out with other people. It's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, honestly, it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You answer the question.
It was, like I said, I feel like all of us can agree that it was an extremely surreal and just wonderful experience to see all of your friends that you talk to online, and just be like a part of this big community, you know, in a real life setting as opposed to just like online. I think it's really cool to be able to connect with everyone in person. So even if you don't compete, or if you do, it would definitely be worth the investment to go to the next one, because you get to be a part of the community in more of a sense than just online. And I think that's really cool, you know?
That is 100% how I feel as well. Just go. If you're thinking about going, go. If you're not thinking about going, go. If you wiggle your fingers, go. There's literally no reason to not.
I'm curious curious what y'all think about the competition aspect versus just having like a straight up community hang on event. Because I feel like we try to push the competition to have that immediate, like, oh, I need to go draw, versus I think just everybody being together is kind of cool. Like if there's like a more art market type of situation, would that be something that you think people would go to, or does it need that competitive factor?
I don't think it necessarily needs competition in order to drive people. But what it does need is a little bit of incentive. Competition is an easy way to come up with that incentive, but short of that, I think that you got to come up with, like, for example, if we're doing a competition, everybody knows that there is a centerpiece that you're going to be showing up for. Versus if you're going to just like an Airbnb party where a bunch of Glovers are at, like there's just a whole separation of, you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know the time frame, you don't know, if there's going to be specific attractions that you're going to be going, you don't know if there's going to be people there that you want to see. It definitely comes back to that centerpiece of everyone can come together and expect something, and then get that experience together. Versus, I think the after parties are that community experience that you're talking about, that community, just that gathering. But the problem is there's never a big enough spot for everyone to do that. So,
Yeah.
how do you answer that? How do we solve that problem is the question.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the hardest part is trying to make it happen on such low budgets and like volunteer work a lot of the time. So like you're asking people to come be judges for the entire day, and then you gotta feed them, you gotta get the transport, all this other stuff.
Yeah,
so
that's true too.
think, like, how else do we make it? How do we lessen the intensive work and make it just more fun at the same time?
I agree. Yeah, I think that's a valid issue to look into. I personally think it'd be really cool to do like the type of North Cal camp out type of event that you see all the time or every year, where they just have a bunch of people. They charge is that a crab claw? What am I looking at?
Another horn.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting here thinking you got a lobster claw in your hand. Anyways.
I would have one of those.
No, I think that having that centerpiece to get everyone involved is definitely important. But I think that if we could find a venue and get people interested in having just like a workshop camp out type of thing, I think that would be just as popular. And it would give people more freedom to interact the way they want to interact, rather than forcing their trades in between rounds and whatnot.
Yeah, I really feel like NorCal kids have the blueprint down for most of this stuff. Like it's always seamless. They always have everything run like very smoothly. Yeah,
it's got to be that NorCal money, I swear.
Right.
We gotta. Go ahead. Go ahead.
One thing I've picked up about competitions is that it feels like a lot in the gloving scene, people try to recreate the competition or try and rebrand it, remake it something else. Like, oh, but this type of scorecard is better. This type of categorizing is better. But it feels like no one has ever agreed on just one thing. And if we can't include all Glovers in the competition equally, like if no one feels like their style is actually included or what they give in is actually included, then it makes competition, as much as it's supposed to be a community thing, it makes some people not be as interested to compete. And while I feel like spectating is a big part of competition, gloving has its own challenge with spectating. It really does.
That's true. That's
when
true.
There's so many people, you can only spectate so well, where not everyone always feels in on competitions. So it's almost like, are we supposed to keep recreating a style of competition until we find the perfect one, or should we just not be competing this way?
That's an interesting point, and it's definitely valid because, I mean, with an artistic endeavor at like gloving. It's like figure skating. How are you really gonna judge it unless you have had years and years and years and years of people who all agree on what the technique is, on what a good landing is, on what a good, all these aspects that go into it. And frankly, gloving's just not old enough yet. It's just not. So that's a factor as well. I think maybe there could be value in bringing people together in a gloving community in a non-competitive way a few times first, and then trying to bring out that competitive aspect.
Feels like a lot of communities have kind of shrunk, so it'd be cool to see like a recombination of community to actually get that like common consensus.
I agree with that for sure. Vio in our chat says, "I made it. Let me know when you're ready. Come on in. Join in. Looks like we also got Cushman in the chat. What's up, Kush?"
Hi. Sorry, you told me to be in here the other day at 5. I mean, not 5. 3.
That is correct.
I said 3:05, and you were like, "That should be okay." So
Yep, you're good. You're good.
I'm just
welcome.
Just at my desk. Thank you. I don't have a camera on right now. I'm setting up my new keyboard.
That is acceptable. Well, thank you for being here. I'm just gonna run through some of the questions I asked them already. What was your favorite part of G3?
Favorite part of G3? Not having to compete.
That's so funny with what we were just talking about.
Why
didn't you want to compete?
I just don't like pressure. That's all.
Interesting.
I thought it was really fun though, to be honest. I got there early, I got my jersey, everyone, all the homies were there. We signed in and we were just kind of kicking it for a little bit, Teddy was doing his thing. I was trying to behave as well, just like any other day yeah, exactly. Just like any other comp, but for the most part, I think my favorite part was that it was a little more engaging, meaning like I like that there was like that massage person there. I was like, "Who's that?" And they were like, "Oh, just in case you need that back worked out." And I was like, "Maybe I do." Shit.
Sometimes you just need your back blown out. It's all right. It's fine.
A little bit, right? It's here and there, I mean, there was
Period.
yeah, there's a competition happening, so people were taken care of. Everyone was taken care of, and it felt like like very engaging.
I like that. Who was the most famous person you saw there?
Famous?
Famous.
Famous. I don't even know.
Does it count if we're all famous and that we're all not famous at the same time? Semi-famous in a niche internet micro community?
Yeah, in that aspect, yeah. But I feel like wasn't really anyone famous there. Like, I knew everyone there. Like, I don't know if that was the answer you're looking for. I'm sorry, but
nah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
you gotta answer the question the best you can. But
yeah, I knew everyone there, so like I felt like I didn't really skip a beat. I knew everybody, so.
Listen, you can just say yourself. It's fine. Kush was the most famous person there. Obviously, he's a star. He's the greatest of all time.
No.
Clearly.
Okay.
Clearly.
Oh, you know what though? I actually really wanted to see Recursion. Adam Bartlett, and like
the
after everything,
gangster.
I think there was like the parties after and stuff, and like he was picking my brain, and like I like refused to do clusters, like go like beyond the scope of whatever else is out there, and like he just kind of was like, dude, it's really not that hard. This is what it is, and like all I did was spend like 2 minutes with him, and like it was just crazy. Like,
that really brings me to kind of my favorite part of these events is just sitting down with people that are talented in areas that you enjoy and just asking them questions, picking their brains, telling them, hey, what would you do from here? Do a trick and be like, all right, let me show you that, but what would you do out of that? And just getting that in-person collaboration that's just unmatched.
It is. I think that's who else was there? There's like people there that I haven't also seen before that were famous to me. I forgot his name though. You have to get back to me on that one, actually.
It's
Need to figure
fine.
this out.
It's fine. Vio, what about you? What was your favorite part of G3?
Just really being able to sit down and talk to everybody. The level of skill that was in that area, getting to pick brains and ask questions and things like that. The just overall community was probably my favorite part because that was actually my first in-person event and first time meeting a lot of people that I've met online, and so I was thoroughly surprised at how welcoming it was.
It's
So
definitely a different kind of environment, different kind of energy when you walk in there for the first time. So yeah, that's valuable. Go ahead and smash the like button if you haven't already. Share the stream. This is going to be the last stream of the year. Last Thursday stream of 2022. We'll be back at it on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time in 2023. But again, just so y'all know, I'm not going to be living in Minnesota anymore. I am leaving the state next week. So I'm gonna be moving to Texas for a month, and then from there we're going to Oklahoma, and yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of this frigid ass state. So
you're gonna have to
Let's
send us all
go.
the damn weather though.
say that again.
So you're gonna have to send all the weather down here though, and
Bro,
preemptively getting ready. It's
Bro,
cold as
listen,
shit.
listen. You have to suffer for 2 days, okay? Next week it's gonna be fucking 60. I looked. You want to know how cold it's gonna be next week here? 6 degrees.
Damn.
6?
6.
Single digit?
Right now it is -6.
Oh, it's not giving.
I got you a little bit. I'm
Not
positive right now.
giving.
It's not okay. Listen, it is not okay. But
Mm.
yeah, more questions about G3. Now, we were talking about the idea of, is a competition necessary in order to draw the community in? What do you guys think? Kush, do you think it's necessary to have a center form competition in order to get all of the community from around the country to actually be interested in coming to an event?
Well, look at the fucking the Olympics. I know it's nothing like compared to the Olympics, but I mean, like, everyone wants to show that they're the best, or they have skill, or like they want to represent where they came from, and just, like, you know, bring whatever home, like whether it be information, a dub, you know, connections. Like, I don't know, like, if I go to a competition out of the country and, like, I meet a bunch of cool ass people and, like, we vibe, and, like, let's say I don't win or anything, like, I mean, I got something out of that, but I don't think that we necessarily, like, need that, like, but it's really nice to have. Like, I mean, when I get online and play games, there's always pubs or ranked. What do I want to play? Sometimes I want to get sweaty, play ranked, you know, that's how I have fun, or sometimes I want to just play pubs and chill.
I think that is a very, very, very intelligent position. Sometimes you want to sweat, and sometimes you just want to relax, and I think there's value to both of those.
Exactly.
Trying to figure out how to bring both of those feels to an event is what is going to really push us over that hump community wise, I think. But it's still a work in progress, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna
I
take
have
some
an
time.
idea for.
Sure.
So if you see a competition that's like absolutely crowded with a bunch of other things going on, but then there's like one main ring for it, it's going to be like a fight competition, right? Or like a dance battle, but specifically a battle. It's a fight. It's like one main fight. It's like one thing going on. And even the biggest thing is that when there's this one stage, this one moment that everyone's circling around, everything outside of that one circle of people is whatever anyone else wants it to be. It allows it to be a bit of both. And like, you know, it's just the most hectic, most crazy, most fun competitions that you see are always the ones that treat it the most like one event, like a one big battle or something. So maybe make it more grand, make it more.
I
serious?
agree. I agree with that. Somehow creating a center point for all of the matches to be watched like it's the main event would definitely make things more interesting. The only issue with that is time constraints, because obviously that just multiplies how long we're sitting there and judging and all that stuff. So it really comes down to, how do we take a spectator sport that is literally a single spectator sport and blow it up to be more visible to an audience? That's the real question. And maybe there's something to it that, you know, maybe we do less of the actual competing. There's less rounds to get through, or there's less I don't know, head-to-head matches, and more just like like the preliminaries at the in the dance portion of it. You know, everybody did their part and then moved on, and everybody was watching at the same time. It wasn't a head-to-head type of thing. I don't know, maybe there's something to that. But at the same time, Gloving has a culture of dance battles head-to-head. So it's like, how do we create something bigger without stepping on the culture that's already there?
A fucking
That's tough.
question.
I still think it should be like an invitational, have online comps throughout, or like local comps in different communities, have people win like gym badges and shit like that, and then you have like the big meetup at the end of the year or the beginning.
I like that. I like that,
Like
because
a
then
lot.
you could have the competition. It can be that single event that everybody watches, but also not be too long, and then have that camaraderie afterwards. And it's, yeah, I think that's probably the better idea. But then you got to have the Global Gloving League and all that stuff, and more work.
Work never ends, dude. No matter
Or
what.
work never ends. That's true. We're
don't
building
care
a
what
community
you're talking
here,
about.
so
Exactly. Build it faster, damn it.
build faster. Rome was built in a night,
For real.
not a day, not a night.
Single night.
That thonk. I have a ghost spacebar. Sorry. Okay, what? Next question?
Next question. I want to hear about this ghost. Do you have a ghost in your spacebar?
It's called a ghost spacebar. Yeah, it's like. Hold on.
Gives you a nice little clickety clack there.
Does it say boo?
No, I wish it did. That'd be so sick.
Return it.
Yeah, you need to get one that
No.
says boo.
Send it back.
Sorry. Those are the rules. I don't make them. I just enforce them.
Speaking of rules, how do you feel about the judging cards?
See, the
You think they're
judging
pretty
cards,
accurate?
I think Teddy always does a good job of coming up with what foundational items make up a good light show and making a scorecard around that. But that being said, every single dance community that does battles does it in a point at the winner type of way, not rather than a scorecard. So I'm wondering, is there more value in having just it be strictly opinion based rather than trying to quantify the opinion?
Dude, we gotta bring it back to 2011 fucking Boss Invitationals where the scorecard was oohs and ahs.
See, yes and no though, because the problem with that is then how many homies do you have in the audience?
Well,
And how many?
I know.
And how many people out there are really just not gonna make a noise for you no matter what you do? Because
What do
like,
you mean no matter what you do? What if you're just like solo dolo, dude, like just solo carrying throughout your whole gloving, like not career, but like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, let's say you're just like really good and you come in and everyone has to be like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm gonna clap too.
sure.
Like, that was actually really crazy. It's not just hype anymore, you know, like there's more dynamics to it. But I mean, yeah, like I'm just like trolling when I say that, but like that's basically what it was.
I think there could be value to crowd reaction. I do.
Yeah, like
I
finalists or something.
I certainly do, because I've had matches in my life. I'm thinking literally going back to the Arizona boss that I took second in, and I took second in despite the fact the whole crowd was oohing and awing at my show. One of the judges was like, "Well, I didn't like what you did with the intro, so just because I didn't like it, the other guy won."
Exactly. Okay.
And it's like, but everybody said, "Oh!" when I did that move. So, where are we at here?
We used to do it like we'd have the scorecard for the regular matches, and then the exhibition would kind of be that crowd factor. But I do think that quantifying and having like a tangible track of this is why we gave you more points is valuable.
I do,
right?
too.
Because you could like straight up disrespect somebody and get that like crowd reaction, but it could be the most basic type of move or something like that. You know?
I feel like crowd reaction would be cool because it's very engaging, and it's almost like everyone had a chance to judge it because they all watched the finals and they're like, okay, well, this for this guy, and everyone screams, and then for this guy, and then everyone's like at the edge of their seat, like, dude, that was fucking beast. Like, could be anyone's game, and then like there's like obviously like the fucking real judges that are just like, all right, guys, like, let's talk about it, like.
I
I don't know.
agree with that. I think if anything, the crowd reaction should simply be noted by the judges and say, hey,
Yeah.
I remember this part. The crowd loved this part. We're going to mark that down as a plus for you because the crowd loved it. But here's what we think of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Exactly.
valuable for sure.
Absolutely.
One thought I have about scorecards is, in my opinion at least, this might not be shared. I feel like they're the same as pointing in one direction as an opinion. At least, like, for example, at G3, there was a lot of judges. And yeah, we had a lot of rounds going at once. But having that many judges, even though you have numbers to this system, everyone's going to use those numbers differently.
Right.
Everyone's going to have that one balance of what's actually a 1, what's actually a 5. Is 5 actually like a good middle? Like, what's 5 through 10, and it can create an unbalance where some judges are being hard because someone's super good, and then judges are being lighter because they're like, oh, it still like followed these basics, so it still gets a all right score. But how does that contrast to the people that are maybe pushing it way further?
I think that's a really good point. I think that's a really good point because that's something that gets that happens quite a bit in the Glover's pit online. Is some people will be like, all right, well, this match is completely asymmetrical. Clearly there's one talent and there's one scrub, but I'm gonna vote for the scrub because the scrub did some stuff in his show that is better than what I've ever seen him do before. So I'm gonna score him higher and be meaner to the person who's clearly has more talent and knows what they're doing. Like, I think there's definitely an imbalance there as well. So trying to figure out how to bridge that gap is very important, and I think the pointing thing might be the option there.
Yeah.
Simplification, because it feels like adding numbers is the same thing but more complex, so it's just justifying why you have that opinion instead of standing with the opinion.
Right. And there should be room for justifications. There should be room for saying, okay, you pointed to him, but why? What reason do you think he won? And you should have, those judges should be able to say, well, this and this was better. But you're right. Comparing a 3 to a 2, how do you know the 3 was necessarily that much better than the 2? Like, what's the quantifying there? I agree with you on that for sure.
Especially on a small scale like 1 through 5, I can imagine that making it even harder.
Because
mid to some is drastically different than mid to others, as you guys have kind of been saying.
Right. It's like, especially with gloving, where it's just so young and so new, and most people haven't spent enough time actually looking at the techniques to be able to tell you whether a finger roll is clean or not. Unless you've been sitting here and doing it in your camera as much as we have.
Right.
It's just too new for most people, and even the judges that I think this is a huge problem with competitions as well, is judges are usually not the best glovers in the scene. They're supposed to be, but they're not, because the best glovers in the scene are usually trying to compete, right?
I hate competing.
They're usually the only people that are willing to either volunteer or like, yeah, I'll take the $20 and a slice of pizza for lunch. Like, they're just the ones who are available.
Right.
It's hard, but I think that's what we try to solve with like the lights on panel aspect, where you have people that are identified as experts in one particular category. But how do you scale that up across
Yeah. Scaling it is literally impossible inside a physical venue because of just so many limitations of where you can pull from. The lights on thing at least had the benefit of your judges didn't have to be in the same room or even in the same state. So there's that brings us back to, that idea of doing yearly qualifiers online for then an invitational event. I think there's some value to that. I really do.
I like that a lot. I think it's a more
And if it's an
linear progression to it.
invitational, you can also set up judges a lot more earlier, so you can let people know who the judges are, what to look for. Like, hey, like build a name for the judges, so it's not just another random judges. It's this one event, the big event. You know, it's going to be judged right because it's that event with, makes it difficult.
I think that's valuable for sure.
Whew.
I think the hardest part Jess touched on earlier is just we're so young.
We are just so young. We're just babies. We really are.
Yeah.
You know what though? I talk to people at work because I like just fuck around with my hands as like a second nature kind of thing. They're just like, "Oh, light shows, bro," and I'm like, "Nice, dude." It's like kind of expanding a little bit. Then like, like I've made like friends at like my job as well. And they like rave and stuff. I don't even know about it. And like I tell them I fucking glove and like all this shit and like I don't know. I'm trying to get it out there.
I broke it out.
The good word of the Lord, gloving.
Spread the light, as it were. Yeah, no, I mean, I think gloving still has room for growth, but it's so interesting that the growth on social media seems to have just like stalled for whatever reason, and I honestly think that reason is because we're so far into the put lights on everything era that putting lights on your fingers just isn't weird anymore. So people don't see it and go, what the fuck are you doing? They see it and go, oh, well, that's par for the course. LEDs are on everything now.
Normal.
RGB people.
RGB people. RG people. Yes.
RG people.
I think the content really isn't there, right? Like with your lightsaber stuff, it's new, it's fresh, like in terms of what you're doing to put yourself in different, like, what's the word? Like when you're giving a light show to a camera, there's only so many things you can do, or only so many things that people do, but like it hasn't really had like a fresh factor in it for a while, I think.
Well, here's the thing with that. I think what you're touching on is the fact that people can see a glove move and then a really, really cool glove move, and if they don't know gloving, they can't really tell the difference between what's happening. They can be like, all right, well, lights are happening and that's cool, but I don't really know what's going on. And it's the same for lightsabers, really. I mean, I do one spin and it's cool, and then I do another spin and it's cool, but can you really tell the difference between what's happening there? Not necessarily. But what you can do is tell that I am spinning a lightsaber like it's fucking magic, and everybody who loves Star Wars is going to see that and be like, that's a fucking Jedi. So that has a little bit more staying power than lights on your hands going, what the fuck is this guy doing? What can I relate this to? What popular culture can you relate gloving to? There isn't.
Sign language. ASL. I was
honestly not enough glovers do it.
There's people at my job that are deaf, and I remember I was gloving, like walking by, and like I looked, and like this deaf lady was like looking at my hands, like, and I was like,
singing in sign language, basically.
Exactly. It piqued her interest because she has to use her hands a lot. So.
See, I think that's really cool, and I think that more glovers should learn more ASL and learn more gestures and learn more things that they can add into their gloving. However, not enough people in the world see ASL and be like, oh, that's ASL. I know that. I can relate to that. In order for it to be like, all right, I'm going to share this every time I see it. You know what I mean? So it's coming up with a way to infuse gloving into popular culture in a way that people will see it and be like, my favorite anime, my favorite TV show, my favorite this or whatever. Because you post. I can't even think of a good example except for lightsabers. Imagine that. But you post lightsabers, and people are instantly posting comments about their favorite Jedi, their favorite whatever, their favorite lightsaber form, their whatever. With gloving, it's like unless you're a part of it, unless you've been spending the time learning the techniques, learning the names, learning that stuff, it falls on deaf ears almost.
Yeah. Especially gloving I won't lie, I resort to finger tutting mostly for that. A lot of people like think I'm doing stuff from the Magicians. They think I'm doing stuff from Doctor Strange, you know, or they just connect it with it in some way because they've seen someone do it. Because tutting is a bit more popular than gloving.
Right.
You'll have tutters actually paid for advertisements where you won't find that with glovers, you know.
Right.
So it's with
watching-
gloving, especially since it's slowed down, it's so difficult because it's slowed down so much. It feels.
Sorry.
It's definitely. Go ahead.
Impacts and Conjuring being the only true gloving styles, like purely gloving driven impacts and Conjuring.
I think that's pretty accurate, honestly, because everything else in gloving, every other technique, if you take the gloves away, do you still have the technique? And with the exception of what you said, impacting and conjuring, there is truth to certain techniques. Most of these techniques you can do without the gloves, and it'll be instantly translated to finger styles or finger tutting or liquid or whatever. Versus if you're not making things literally vanish and reappear, you're not conjuring.
That's deep.
Some interesting concepts here. Well, we've been talking for 45 minutes already, which is pretty nice, pretty solid, I would say. Do you guys have any final thoughts you want to say about the G3, about gloving culture, about anything in general here?
Final thoughts? Nah, dude, I'm taken. Kidding. But no, I mean, I just can't wait for something else. I don't know. I'm like, it's next year's coming up. It's January 2023, new year.
New year, new gloving?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. I'm never gonna stop.
I can't stop wiggling my fingers whether I like it or not. So, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be doing it. I think trying to get together the next event will be a bit of a push. I think there's value in trying to come up with something that's not necessarily a competition, to try to take a step away from that for a year and see what people really want and really want to do. But then again, I'm not the one doing the planning, so.
I mean, we could throw a straight up just a party. But
Yep. Yeah.
Getting the revenue to where it needs to be, it was already a stretch with G3, so that's the main thing.
Right.
We need to find a way to make more money during the event to make it feasible for that type of venue, anyway.
Unfortunately, it always comes down to the dollars, and if it don't make dollars, it just doesn't make sense. But, throwing a party would be really cool. It'd be a really good way to get everybody together without that competition aspect in it. I would really like to see a convention, so to speak. One of my chatters just says Florida's convention. Yeah, I mean, I've been saying that for a while, just like a GloveCon type of thing. Comic-Con is able to do it, but obviously comics are a much bigger demographic than finger wigglers. Just how do we figure out how to get more people to be interested in the community is really what it comes down to, and I'm not gonna leave that as a question for y'all to answer right now. I think that's an open-ended question for all of us to think about in general, is just how do we get more people involved. So I'm gonna leave it at that unless you guys got anything else. You guys have any other thoughts, prayers, questions, concerns?
How are you doing, Josh?
How am I doing? I'm doing great. I am so happy right now. I am about to get out of this motherfucking state. I'm going to leave Minnesota. I'm never going to look back. Well, I'll come back for family Christmas. But you know what I mean. The point is I am out. I'm getting out of the state that I have hated for so very long. And I can't express how happy I am to be doing something different finally. So
exciting.
Thanks for asking, my dude. Anyone else got anything?
Do not.
Nope.
Sounds good.
Y'all
Well,
have ideas? Hit us up.
thank you all for being here. I'm gonna ask you all individually to come back and be on the stream at some point to do finger wiggles with me. Thanks for talking about G3. I appreciate you all being here, particularly Clarity and Sidewinder for being here immediately on time. Everyone else said they weren't going to be on time, so it's not like I wasn't expecting that, but I appreciate it regardless. Yeah, again, Thursday streams will be coming back in January, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all for being here.
Peace. Later, guys.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Well, that's that. Want to thank them all again for being here. Well, we're going to play a couple of songs quick and do some light shows before I end it. I am just so very happy to announce that I am leaving Minnesota. I'm going to say it a couple more times. New chapter indeed. Also, don't forget to get your all hands hoodie. These are gonna be off sale after New Year's. They're only on sale until New Year, so get your all hands collection. YouGotMoves.com. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Catch you next year. Thanks for being here all year long. We'll be here again all year long. See you next year. Peace out. It's better to be weird than boring.